Hello guys, good day. This is Anne of Reinforcement Club, your fellow positive reinforcer. Today we are going to talk about the psychology of your social circle, what it says about you. I'm talking about this quote. This is much similar to our topic today. Tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. People we surround ourselves with ultimately influence how we think, act, and who we become. I definitely agree to that. Because it happened to me. And it also can be a tool for us. Understanding our social environment can be a tool for us to succeed, to look after our well being, and of course, in the most part, make a wise decision. Choosing our friendship, especially lifetime partners who you want to marry. Now, according to this so called social contagion theory, this theory suggests that behaviors, emotions, and habits spread like a disease through the social networks. So, what I'm trying to say is that if your friends are obese, your chances of becoming obese is also high, up to 75%. And the other way around, if you hang out with people who are fit, who loves to go to the gym regularly, and you will definitely become that kind of person. My best friend, he's actually in Portugal right now. He's a gym guy, nice body, and we hang out together. And he's one of the best guys who invited me to join a quiet poshy gym here in Ireland. And the reason why I love to go to that gym because of him. I can see him there. I can work out with him. I'm having fun. So that's why I do agree to this. Tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. I also have friends before when I was younger. I hang out with the smokers. So even though, my dad also smokes, even though I know that it ain't healthy, and I was a nursing student that time, I know that it isn't healthy. I'm not, that this habit wouldn't give me anything good. But as time goes by, hanging out with my friends who smokes, eventually, I became a social smoker. It all started with, okay, one stick. They look cool. And I would love to look cool like them. They can smoke, get away, they can drink. All right, I'll join. I get one stick of cigarette, and then yeah, it's fine. Nothing happened to me. I'm not like them. I grab another stick, and then another one, and then the following day, it's easier now to grab another stick of cigarette, and now it actually ended up that there were couples of nights where I used to hang out with my friends who smoke, and yeah, we ended up smoking together. Because to me, I look quote unquote cool with them. But there's nothing wrong with that though. It's people have free choices. It's just that sometimes, some of our choices doesn't give us any good in the long run. The way when you smoke, your a percentage of your monthly income will go to that vice, buying like vape or smoke stick of cigarette, and then in the long run, it exponentially multiplies over the years and years. How much do you spend on smoking to keep that habit? So it's not helping. But all right, yeah, since people have free will, have choices, they're free to do whatever they want. All right. Okay, it's not. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the effect, the consequence is bad. And it also applies to those people who hang out with, peers who do drugs and risk-taking activities. Risk-taking in a way that bad in a way, like robbery, thief. And even though you haven't done that before, since you keep hanging out with these people, eventually you will get involved. You might gonna start as their driver. They're the one who's gonna rob the store, and you're just gonna drive, but you're still there. So tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. Our brains are wired to mimic and empathize with those around us. And in the most part, though, we don't want any conflict with our best friends, with our BFFs, with people we usually hang out with. So at the end of the day, we subconsciously shift our beliefs and behaviors so we can flow with them, with their behaviors, the way they express themselves, the way they act. So more likely we become the kind of person who we hang out with. You know what I mean? So if you want to be rich, hang out with the rich people. Hang out with those people who are crazy and disciplined enough to do the investing. But you also have to be careful in choosing mentors. Even though some people who are rich, okay, but they're not happy in that situation. They're not happy because they have to undergo another divorce again and again because they prioritize money over relationships. So you have to be carefully assess your mentors, the people you hang out with. And according to sociological and economic fact, it says here, there's what we call peer effects or peer influence in economics. Peer behavior impacts individual economic choices in terms of education, savings, and consumption. In other words, you're more likely to attend college if your friends do, regardless of parental income. You're always going to find a way. You're going to go for like student loan in any ways you can because your best friends are going to college. And this also happened to me because my dad works in the hospital. He looked up to nurses, and now before, I'm already a nurse now, he strongly suggested, to the point that I really did it, he wants me to become a nurse. And I have no choice, even though I want to be a teacher, a history teacher, that suggestion didn't work to my dad. It's either a nurse or I'm not going to college. And I also found out that some of my neighbors want to be a nurse. That parent was a friend of my dad. So, look, this neighbor that we have, who is your friend also, you're not quite close this time, but she wants to be a nurse. You might gonna be classmates pretty soon. Because they're, our parents, that neighbor of mine who wants to be a nurse too, they're friends with my dad. And my dad used to work in the hospital. He's actually retired now. So he used to work in the hospital and he's looking up to nurses. And then here I am. I ended up to be a nurse. And I have loads of friends who were nurses. But since I also love investing, at some point, I'm saving, I'm trying to learn. And I am sorting out seminars, meetings, meetups of the kind of groups here in Ireland who are into investing, particularly property. So I'm following those groups. When I have time, I joined the lecture. So it's where I met different people from different countries, which is really cool. And not necessarily, I'm not sure if they ever smoke or whatever they have. We are there, like-minded people who wants to venture property investing. And there is also what we call this homophily effect. Homophily effect, which also says like birds of the same feather flock together, which means that people naturally associate with those similar values, status, and worldview. It's like a reinforcing identity. So as to me, I want to invest in property. I try to hang out or join seminars or meetups with people who are into that. I am reinforcing that kind of identity in me. That way. And there are also people who wants to be a boss in their area. So Since that's what they want, they look up to the boss, they want to be friends with them. Eventually, I do believe these people, in one point of their life, they're going to be having certain positions in the area because of their network. They're close to the bosses in the corporate world. It's about network. It's not about your skills, just your skills, not about just how good you are, how punctual you are. It's about your network. Who is tied up with you? Like-minded friends, like-minded people. As to this, there's also a concept which is called, it actually, yeah, I remember now. It's a network capital, according to Robert Putnam. So, according to Robert Putnam, your network affect your access to opportunities, jobs, and support. So, most especially if you are born in a rich family, you wouldn't have any problem looking for a job at all. Your problem is, how can I avoid working? Most probably, I'm just joking. So, if you are born in a rich family, eventually you're just gonna be born as an owner, as a equity owner in the future, given to you by rights from your family tree, which is fair enough though. The quality of your friendships affect not only who you are but your outcomes. Like organizations, like if you are one of those fraternities who are into investing, they want to cover this area. Like for example, if they want to supply soft drinks in this area in a community, you only need one or two friends to work on that. You need one supplier, which is a friend somewhere else, or someone who can help you out with that, so you can conquer the entire community supplying branded soft drinks like Coca-Cola, whatever you want to sell in that community. So you need help. You can't just do it yourself. You have to build trust and rapport to your supplier, to those people who can help you out in this. As you expand, you need more supplies, and you also have to be good to your workers, to your drivers, to your salesmen. So it's all about network. So people won't just rip you off, even though if you own a business, in some point you might experience that, but it's all about network. You can't do this alone. Even your friends, rich friends, smart friends, friends with not just friends who have good positions in a company, they can help you out with jobs. Not necessarily that you have to be a champ in an interview, but when they say yes to you, there's a high probability that you're going to get the job. But not all the time, but that's just high probability. So in some point, there's what we call friends with benefits. I'm just talking about networks, not just friends with benefits though. Yes, you can benefit from your network, but you have to also to return that value. What I'm saying is your connections help you build, like this organization, family tree, generational wealth. You own a big company, whatever is that. Your BFFs, your best friends who are already having a good position, high position in a corporate world. These connections that you have help build you up and maintain strong collective actions. That is why some companies, even big companies, they only hire graduates, particularly from this school. That's about network connections again. Collective actions and democracies. This is, I do agree, I strongly agree in this saying, who tell me who your friends are and I tell you who you are. That's why you got to be careful with people you associate with. And you can also use this as a tool for you to get what you want, to become a person of value. Not only to benefit from these people, but you help them also get whatever they want. In any ways you can. In any ways you can help them out. There must be an exchange of value. Otherwise, you're just another selfish kind of guy, and you don't want to hang out with these people. You're already out. You're no value to us. So be useful in return. All in all, though, yes, we are, yes, we do absorb the values, habits, languages, and aspirations of our friends. Speaking about languages, if you hang out with people who likes to cuss, then you might just gonna end up just like them. The way they talk, you're just going to mimic the way they are. Hopefully, you could also somehow mimic their intelligence. Their good PR. Our inner circle either uplifts or corrodes our potentials. Therefore, friends aren't just reflection. Their support, their support as well as the sculpture of our character. A friend is another self. Who you keep close reflects what you value. So, as I'm saying, since that is a relationship, strong connections are relationship, it doesn't mean that you're just going to take, and take. You also have to give value to those people. That is why it's called healthy relationship. Healthy, strong relationship, that is strong enough to build and go through a collective action according to where your direction is, or goal or aspiration. Hang out with people who values ambitions, then you're gonna be ambitious too. Hang out with people who's not toxic to you. Hang out with people who can help you grow your money, your wealth, keep good relationships, look after yourself. Hang out with people who's healthy in terms of their diet, in terms of their exercise. Hang out with good people. It's another way for a self-care though. Your associations. And I hope I shared something valuable today. And if you ever love this episode, you can share this to your family and friends. You can even follow me in YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, even an X. Reinforce Me Club, by the way. This is Anne, your fellow positive reinforcer. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.